Back in the mid 90s, there was a movie called Toys starring Robin Williams, where the core concept of it is he runs a toy company. His older brother, who's a military general, comes in, ends up taking over the company by trying to train kids on how to become drone pilots using video games and then use them, of course, in military warfare. We saw this also come in from the movie Ender's Game and using children to lead a battle against an unknown alien force. It's one of those things where video games and war have gone together in pop culture for a long time. We're talking decades upon decades. Even in the early 2000s, the U.S. Army was running on the narrative, running on the whole marketing slogan of Army of One. And by that, they would also have U.S. Army video games. They had a whole game, a free online multiplayer shooter that they would use to recruit people. And it's not fiction. That's legitimately true. That's legitimately real. And of course, after a while, that kind of died out. It kind of went away. It was just kind of no more. So then the question becomes, well, what is the military going to do next? And that turns out once again, they are turning to video games in order to try to get new recruits in. Saying here that the Army turns to video games in order to get new recruits. All right, last year, the Army missed its recruiting goal for the first time since 2005. A fact blame on a strong economy and the slow collapse of traditional recruiting like cold calls. Now Uncle Sam has a new strategy. It's not just going online, but into video games. Okay, so it's going into video games, which is something that's already done before, but they've realized that they have to go do it again because kids would rather play Fortnite than be on the front lines. And can you really honestly blame them? Besides, who are we really fighting? Who are we really fighting in boots on ground anymore? I mean, I know we're in Afghanistan and that is a problem. But ultimately, is this kind of like policing the world rather than protecting our interests? Well, we are protecting our interests rather than protecting our own sovereignty in our own home country. So it at least feels like to me. Now, the U.S. Army is looking beyond recruiting ads as it tries to pitch itself as a new audience for gamers. CBS News' Tony Dokoupil, if I'm saying that right, went to a sold-out gaming convention in San Antonio where Major General Frank Muth, the head of the Army's recruiting command, says he's looking for the next generation of American soldiers. That's right, folks, you heard it. They're going to gaming conventions trying to find the best possible people. Now, if you've ever been to a gaming convention or a comic book convention or a nerd convention of any kind, I would like to kind of paint you a little bit of a picture. It kind of looks like me. Right? Chubby white dudes with glasses and beards, but there's like a cloning facility, and we're small, medium, and large, and I'm the medium version. I'm just saying that it doesn't really make a lot of sense to go into a specific convention like that, trying to find the best you can get. However, if you get them while they're young and get them on a good potential, eating regimen and fitness regimen, and you help mold them that way, then yeah, I can see how it could maybe possibly be used to your advantage. But at the same time, do you really think that those kids that you're going to be recruiting into the gaming are going to want to sit there and stop gaming in order to go and actually do shit outside? I mean, probably not. Now, Doka Upal says, is there something about what it takes to be a gamer today and what you're looking for Army jobs that overlaps? It's the decision making. It's the ability to take in a lot of information quickly and be able to make a decision. It's about teamwork. Again, I'd like to point out here that when you go into playing most online games, there's a reason why solo is such a popular option. Nobody wants to be forced onto a team of people who aren't in it for the greater good of everybody. When you get into most online multiplayer games, unless you're playing with your homies, you're not actually going to be engaging with anyone who gives a crap about you or the overall objective. They're there for their own purposes. That's not something that flies in the military, especially in the Army when you were pushing that Army of One narrative while still also very much heavily relying on teamwork. Again, people I know in the Army were like, why would they even say Army of One? It makes no sense. It's not what they teach you at all. It was kind of one of those false advertising things. Now, to help the mission, the Army is putting together the first ever all-Army eSports team. More than 7,000 active duty soldiers are competing for the first 30 full-time positions by playing games like Call of Duty, Fortnite, and League of Legends, and hoping to compete in esports tournaments across the country. That's right. Our tax dollars here in the United States, our tax dollars are going to form an esports team, an elusive, exclusive, amazing, wonderful Army esports league. and they're gonna play Call of Duty. I'm just in Fortnite and League of Legends. I'm just saying. We're hearing reports that the military is relaxing its guidelines for people joining, right? They're relaxing the what's needed. And as a result of that, I don't know about you, I'm a little bit on the scared side, if I'm being honest with you. Now it says last year when we didn't make that mission, we went down to the recruiters and say, okay, what can we do different? And they said, sir, first we need to get off the phones. Nobody picks it up anymore, which is true. People don't pick up their phones. You got to text them. You got to text them or you got to IM them. You got to get them on WhatsApp, whatever the kids are using these days. You got to snap them a half naked army chick and go, do you want to see this, but in real life, join the army. Now, that's what got Muth thinking game on, and he came up with an old-fashioned television ad that tucked into the natural flow of the gaming environment. Oh, old-fashioned television and gaming. Those two things, they go together, right? It's like, the guys talk all the time when they're playing games. Sergeant First Class Chris Jones is leading the new eSports recruiting effort. He said that a lot of what he does is explain that the Army isn't all boots and bullets. No, it's not. There's a lot more to the Army than that. When I was 17, so 20 years ago, I spoke with an Army recruiter, and he asked me, like, hey, what do you want to do? And I said, I want to get into filming. I want to get into making movies or documentaries. And he goes, okay, we have a division for that. He's like, but you just got to lose a lot of weight. And I'm all like, see, there's the problem. There's the problem, sir. You're asking me to do something that over the last 20 years, I haven't really been able to do. So, anyway. Yeah, that's a jab at my weight, goddammit. But anyway, it says here that the Army expects its esports team to be competing by the summer. The other branches are getting into gaming. The Air Force sponsored gaming tournaments, and the Navy is engaging recruits with a new traveling simulator. Because leave it to the Navy to make it the most exciting thing on the planet by having a traveling simulator. Like, hey, do you want to know what it's like to live on a boat for 6 months out of the year while you're on deployment? Do you want to know what that's like? Come check out our traveling simulator. No one wants that. Here's how you sell it to the kids, to the young adults that are over the age of 18. Want to make that abundantly clear. The drinking and the hookers, right? Go to Thailand or the Philippines. Get your drunk on, get your wank on. Go to Sydney. Lots of whorehouses in Sydney. In fact, they all close up shop for a few days after the seamen leave because they've got to let the girls get some damn rest. Or Perth. It's one of the two. It's prostitution. All I'm saying is prostitution. All right. Look, you get the guys in. You get them in there with education and learning a skill. Trying to get them for video games is like the stupidest thing. But then again, this is the military. There's a reason why they hit low recruitment numbers, probably for some of the same reasons that football is having trouble getting younger players into Pee Wee. People just don't care as much anymore. There's not a need for it. Post 9/11, there was a need for recruitment. There was massive surge of recruitment. They would have taken my fat ass at my fat ass weight when I was 19 if it was needed at the time. They just needed to fill bodies. They needed to get people out there because we were going to war one way or another post 9/11, and now we don't have that. So kids are playing Fortnite and Call of Duty and Battlefield and League of Legends and Apex Legends. Really, they should go to the Apex Legends team. That's where all the kids are these days. You want to get the kids, got to get them while they're young, like cigarettes and booze. You gotta go to where they're at. And right now they're at Apex. So this is already starting off to the wrong foot. Already starting off on a bad place. Come on, the Army. You should know better than this right now. No one plays League of Legends anymore. That's so last week. It's all about the Apex Legends. All about that. Anyway, I am curious to see if they're going to be able to actually make this a thing. If our military gets into the concept of playing esports on a competitive level as a recruitment tool, that will be very fascinating. But at the same time, I just can't help but snicker and chuckle at it because